This is Danny with QuadLugs, and we're going to be doing the electronics on the Box Quad. So let's go ahead and get started. On this particular one, we're using Sunny Sky 2212 1400 kV motors. So first of all, we'll go ahead and get the X mount installed on all the motors. Let me go ahead and move the frame out of the way. This is pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and open the package. These motors here are very good motors, and they can carry, if you decide to move forward with this frame, they can carry you on up to quite a good size quad or tri. So very good motors. We'll go to the back side and you'll see this is the front of the motor, and this will be the bottom of the motor. And you'll see on the X brace there's a beveled edge and one side that's flat. We'll be using the beveled edge on the outside. And we'll go ahead and line it up with the screws. There's two of them that are further and two of them that are closer. And we line them up and they're all in line. And we're going to be using these screws. You can't go wrong. There's some real small ones for the other side. And the bigger ones are in the back or on the bottom. Now you should put Loctite on this, and the blue Loctite is what you'll want to use. And what it'll do, it'll hold the screws in there, won't let them back out on you, but yet you can still remove them. Now I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and not use the Loctite on these. But I do highly suggest that you do. Nothing's worse than losing a mount on your motor. Yeah, it kind of crashes pretty quick when that happens. So we'll go ahead and put them on, and we're going to tighten them up. And we'll go ahead and go to the top side of it. And go ahead and take this nut off, and the washer, this is going to hold on your prop when you put it on. So we'll go ahead and take these off temporarily. And this fits over the top here. When you have it in front of you, you can't go wrong. And you have 3 holes on this one. You need to line them up. And it takes the smaller screws. Now they're going to give you a couple extra screws, which is great. So you'll have a few left over. But pretty straightforward again. So we'll put these 3 in and tighten them down. And again, you want to make sure all these screws are tight. And again, using Loctite is the preferred way to do this. And you just put a little bit of Loctite on a piece of plastic. In fact, you can use one of the plastic bags. You can put a little bit on there and just dip the end of the screw in it. And go ahead and put it in like this, and it'll hold it on there real well for you. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put our washer and our nut back on it so we don't lose it. And we're going to do the other 3. So let me get those done and I'll be back with you in a little bit. We're finished with that. Now you'll notice, like I was saying before, you'll have extra screws. And I normally keep, excuse me, I normally keep the, you know, the plastic bags that the screws came in when we were building the frame until I'm completely done, because they come in handy for storing these extra screws. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in one of these leftover resealable bags and we're good. Now let's go ahead and mount our motors to the frame, or to the motor mounts, and we're going to do that with the zip ties. Now you may have a different color zip tie, but they're going to all work the same. The holes in the X mounts and our motor mounts for Sunny Sky motors are just a little bit off, so I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to go ahead and put a zip tie in and pull it a little bit, and do not tighten it yet, because what you want to do is lift the motor up, put the zip tie, excuse me, through the X mount and through our motor mount, and go ahead and just get it started in there. And like I said, these holes are a little bit misaligned, and it seems like it happens with the Sunny Sky motors. But no big deal, it works fine. There we go. And we're going to go ahead, let me move these motors out of the way a little bit. We're going to get another one started. Just lift the motor up a little bit. And if you notice, I have the wires, I'm going to be going toward the inside, and I'm going to do this number with them. And that's just how I do it. You can put them straight. You know, that's totally up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and get this zip tie started. Then I'm going to go to the back side, the last one here. Lift the motor up a little bit. Get it started. And you'll see now when you pull them tight, it works really well. What I normally do, I mean, you can use a pair of pliers. There's those needle nose we said we might use. You can grab this with needle nose and pull it tight like that. And that works really, really well. Easy way to do it. I normally just grab it on either side like this and pull them apart. Works really good that way too. So do it however you know you're comfortable with. Let me pull those. And you'll see it tightens it up really, oh, excuse me. It tightens it up really, really well. So just do it that way. Just put it in one at a time. Lift the motor up a little bit. They'll fit in and they'll tighten down really well. Let's go ahead and do another one. Again, I will point the wires toward the inside, and they'll be facing each other. This is going to be the front. This is the back, and that's where the box opens up, is going to be the back. This is the hinge side of the box, is going to be the front. So I'm putting the wires toward the side, and you'll see there's the holes where they're going to be coming through after a while. So I'm going to again do it like this. And we'll put one of them in, or a zip tie rather. Go ahead and start it a little bit. We'll go ahead and do another. And lift up the motor, and you'll see that it slides right on in. And we'll get it started. And we'll do the same on the other to lift up the motor just a little bit. And it'll get started. I'm going to start it a little bit. You don't want to pull them tight yet, because you want to have the ability to lift the motor up just a hair bit like that. And then we'll get this one started. Now we'll go ahead and push the motor down, and again with those needle nose, we'll grab this, tighten one of them up, go to the opposite side, grab it, tighten that one up. Oh, they tighten up real well. And there you go. Now then we're going to cut these off. Make sure and hold them. If you don't, they'll fly. Could hit you. So let me go ahead and finish the other two up, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay. Finish the motors up. There we go. Now next, we're using a 4-in-1 ESC, and we're going to go ahead and unbox it. And what that means is all of your ESCs, your electronic speed controllers, are made into one unit, so it makes it a lot easier to install. And again, the system you're getting, the motors and the ESC, can be used for a lot bigger applications. And with you continuing to build more multi-rotors, you'll be able to use this setup, this power setup, and the controller with many, many more builds. It'll grow with you to pretty much a 500 size, so should last you quite a while. So on this here, they send you the wire, and the only soldering you have to do on this system is your battery connector, and we'll do that after a while. These wires here are going to screw into each one of your ESCs. You're going to have 3 wires going to the motors. If you look on the back side here, they have the screws. So loosen them up a little bit. Your wire's ready for you, and you'll see again when you have this in hand that they fit underneath this piece. There's a little flat piece right here, and you'll see the socket that they fit in. So you just put it in, and you'll feel them slide in, and you tighten up the screw. And we want to make sure that's tight. And we'll go ahead and let me move all of these right here. Let me move this aside. There we go. And we'll go ahead and loosen the next screw up just a little bit. And we're going to slide this one in. And you'll feel it slide in. You hold it in place and tighten that screw. And again, you want to make sure it's good and tight. There you go. And check and make sure it's holding. And we'll loosen up the next screw. Just maybe a turn loosen it up just a turn. And you stick this wire in and you'll feel it slide in. And we'll screw this one down. And again, we'll make sure it's tight. And then we'll pull on it a little bit, make sure it's secure. And that's our first set of wires on the ESC. So let me go ahead and do the other three, and I'll be back with you. Okay, we're done, and all the wires are connected. They're all screwed in, and again, you want to make sure, just pull on them a little bit to make sure they're feeling really good and secure. Next, we're going to go ahead and solder on our plug. Okay, I've soldered on my preferred connector, and you'll have to solder on the one that you'll be using. If you have a preferred one that you use with all your batteries, or if it's the first time for you, whichever battery you are using, you'll obviously want to match up a connector and solder it on that will work with the battery you have or that you're using. So anyway, I use HT60s again, and this is my preferred. So I just soldered it on, and that's the only soldering you're going to have to do is this one. So let's go ahead and get our kit back out here. Our frame. And this is going to mount at the bottom here. So what we want to do, it's going to go like this, and the connector is going to fit through this hole. Now you may have to, depending on which connector you're using, you'll have to get it pushed through. If you want to make the hole a little bit bigger, you can, but most of the connectors will just push through. And there you go there. And these are going to be hooking up to your controller. These are your signals to your each ESC. So let's go ahead and push that through. And there you go. Try to turn it so it looks pretty neat. It's always nice to have a nice, neat job. And you may have to open up the box and pull this through from the other side, but most of the time you can just leave the box closed and do that in a bit. Now these wires are going to be going to your motors. From each ESC you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 ESCs, so there's 4 separate ESCs in here. So they're going to go through this area right here, but we're going to go ahead and fasten this down, and we're going to use the double-sided tape that came with your kit. Now these can be a little tricky because, and I'll show you how I normally do it, because they'll come off of the paper really easy. The other paper sometimes a little hard to get off, but I'll show you a little trick that I use. And I'm going to go ahead and use 4 of these. So this is how it's going to fit. So on the back side, I'm going to go ahead and put these on. And we just peel them off the paper like this. We give you a few extra. That's for the ESC, and we're going to use them for the controller, and we're going to use them for the receiver. So you may have, I think, like 2 of them left over. And we're going to go ahead and put this one here. They don't have to be perfect on there, just so they're covered. And we're going to put this one here. Now, the trick is getting the paper off you can fight it a little bit. You know, some of them are on there really good, and you know, you can use the knife. Just be careful, and you need somebody to help you with the knife. You know, definitely get somebody to help you. But you can usually use the knife to get underneath the paper and get it started like that. Once again, be real careful if you're using the knife. You can use your fingernails. I'll be real honest with you, sometimes that doesn't even work well. So use the knife. Get somebody to help you if you need to. Just be careful, be safe with it. And we'll get that one off. We're getting close. Now this one's going to be a little tough, and let's see. This might be a good time for me to show you this. You can lightly cut through this paper. Just very lightly cut through there. If it, you know, doesn't want to come off from the edge, and you'll find it makes it a lot easier. It'll come off for you this way. There we go. Now, we'll put it here. We want to get it centered this way and this way as best we can. So you can measure and, you know, put an X, you know, in the center here. And, you know, a good way to do that is just go from corner to corner like this. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. I guess you should do this ahead of time. And we can do that and go from corner to corner. Do that. That's the center. So, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect by no means. But, you know, there's the center. We want it about right in here. So, we'll do like that. Now, we'll go ahead and just try to make sure you're where you want to be when you put it down, because I'll be honest with you, these sticky things here, when they go on, they're pretty much on. You'll tear the box up or peel the paper off the box taking it off, which is what you want, because you want it to stay. So just take your time, be careful, know where you're going to go with it, and when you put it on there, it's done. So what I did, I opened the box up and I'm just putting my fingers here underneath it and just push down just a little bit. You don't need to do too much to it, and just pull on this wire and this one a little bit just to get them through there. Now we're going to go ahead and close it again, and we're going to go ahead and put these wires through. And we'll do this. Now what I'll probably do is keep this open, and you'll see them come through there. And we're going to go ahead and put those through this hole, because this is the ESC we want going here. So we'll have it come through, and we'll push it through that hole there, and that way we know where the wires are going. You don't want to get, you know, one of, I'll show you in a second. But what you don't want to do is get one of these wires over to this side by accident, because it'd be a problem. It'll mess this up real quick. So again, we're going to put these wires through. It's probably better to do one at a time. And we'll put one in. And I'm holding the box quad up with this hand here. I just have it resting on the hand, like on my hand like this. And that way my fingers are right there, and I can guide these wires through. So that works really good. Just hold it up with this hand here. And this way you can put the wires through, and if you notice, you can do it however you want. But putting them in like this, you'll have a nice, neat job if you notice. See how they're all lined up nice and neat. Now, while we have these, that's this one, and this one. Again, remember, you don't want to get them mixed up. There you go. So this ESC here, that's the wires we just put in. We want it to go to this motor here. Like I said, you just don't want to get them mixed up. If you do it this way, the likelihood of, having a problem with getting them mixed up is pretty much non-existent, or won't happen. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Now this one's going to go to this one. And we'll do this the same way. I'm holding it up with this hand. And we'll put the wires through. You'll see doing electronics on this kit is really, really easy. Just take your time. It takes about an hour, hour and a half to do this, maybe 2 hours. You know what? If it takes you 2 days to do it, just relax. Have fun doing it. Do a little bit. And if you want to stop and take it up again the next day, works great. So this one's going to go to this one. Just like this one went to this one, this one's going to go to this one. Okay. And we'll double check this in a minute. We're going to go ahead and put the wires through that hole. Okay, we're going to start on this one now. And we're going to double check this in just a second, because if these are going to the right motors, then it makes it a lot easier in what we're going to be doing in the next part. There we go. And then those three are going to go here. Okay, and we're going to straighten all this wiring out in a little bit. So let's double check it. This ESC here comes here, and you can double check by moving it inside, and it's going to this motor. This ESC, and we're going to move it by moving the wires like this. This ESC is going to be going to this motor. And we just move the wires. Sure enough, it's going to that motor. Now this ESC should be going to this motor. And let's go ahead and move those wires. And there they are right there. They're moving. It should be going to this motor. And yes, it's going to this motor. This ESC here, let's move those wires, should be going to this motor. Okay, I'm sorry, going to this motor, and it's going to that motor. So we're in good shape. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the box here for a minute. And what we're going to do, we're going to plug in each motor. Now, this may change because we're going to check rotation. And if the motor's turned the wrong way, we'll address that in a minute on how to fix it. But it's going to entail moving these or switching two of these around. Now, sometimes you'll find that these, they're fitting pretty good. if they're loose, if you notice that there's a slice in this, and if they're loose by chance when you put it in, you can, again, have somebody help you with the knife, but you can stick the knife in that little slot and open it up just a little bit, and it'll make it a lot tighter. So you may have to do that on one or two. I've been finding that. See, like this one is pretty loose. I'm going to catch the knife and do this. Now what you may want to do, first of all, you need to get somebody to help you with the knife if you don't feel comfortable. But to be really safe, you can get your needle nose, hold this, and then do it, and you'll find that, you know, you're away from the knife, and it's a little bit safer to do it that way. I made it okay. Good, good. Okay, we're going to do this one. So if these are too loose, just do that and that'll make them tight and you'll be in good shape. Okay. So the ESC is mounted and it came out real nice and it's really on there good. And our wires are tucked in and our wires are hooked to the motor. Really moving fast. Excuse me. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to prep, before we put our controller in, we're going to go ahead and prep our control wires. These are the wires that's going to control, or going to go from the controller to the ESC that's going to control the motors. So we want to make sure these are hooked up correctly. So this is where it may get a little confusing, but really it's not. So let's go ahead and get something to write with. Here we go. Sorry, I was searching. Now we're going to decide on which ESC is which. So this, with our controller that we're going to use, which is a KK board, and if you're using another controller, you definitely want to know the motor sequence, which is motor 1, 2, 3, and 4, you know, before you tie into your controller. That's very important. But using a KK board, this is motor number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remember, this is the back of the quadcopter. This is the front of your quadcopter. So if you're looking at, or looking from the back to the front, the left front motor is 1, the right front motor is 2, the right back motor is 3, and the left back motor is number 4. So we're going to write this down. This is motor number 1. Motor number 1 was this set of wires, which is M2 or ESC2. This is where it gets a little confusing. But motor number 1 is M2. M2 is going to be the second wire here. This, the way this is set up, again, this says S1, 2, 3, and 4. That's signal. And that's going to M, which is the ESC going to the motor. Now, being that we put it like this is motor number 1 is actually going to ESC, or motor number 2 on here. Motor number 1 is going to number 2. Number 2 is the second wire. Okay. On your controller, you have motor number 1 is going to be your power. So you have your black, which is your negative, your red is your positive, and then you have your signal. So number 1 motor, whichever ESC it's on, has to go to this. So again, be careful with the knife. You need to, there's a tab you need to lift up to pull the wire out. And be careful with the knife. You can use, you know, a pen or something, but whatever you use, just be real careful with it. You need help with it, get somebody to give you a hand. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you look at here, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we established that motor number 1 was on 2. So it's 1, 2. And what we're going to do, we're going to take, we're going to take it off of this. These are little plugs. We're going to take this one off of here, because this is number 2. And this is about the hardest thing. Little confusing, really it's not. When you take one at a time, you can see how it's pretty easy to understand. So this is number 2 wire, which is going to number 1 motor. So we're going to take it and we're going to put it with the power. And you'll hear it click and you're in good shape. Now we're going to go ahead and take this little connector we took off the other one, and we're going to put it back onto this wire. When you have these, you can put these in backwards. They won't click and they won't stay in there. When you have it right, you'll know it. It clicks and it stays in. Okay, so that's what we need to do for right now. So we're going to be, and we'll just write it right here. And you can write it on a separate piece of paper, but I normally put it right here where I can see it if I change my controller or whenever I get ready to put it on. So motor number 1, and that's motor 1, is going to be number 2 on this wiring. And then we'll do motor 2, motor 3, motor 4. So second, number 2 motor is this one. This one is this, and this is going to number 1. So we're going to put number 1 wire, which is going to be this wire. So this is 1 wire. The next one is number 2, and we put that to the power. And then this is 3 wire, and that's 4 wire. So number 3 motor is going to number 4. Now this will get a little bit easier here in a second. And then motor number 4 is going to number 3. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So motor number 1 is going to be number 2 wire on here. Motor number 2 is going to be number 1 wire on here. Number 3 motor is going to be number 4 wire on here. Number 4 motor is going to be number 3 wire on here. It's going to make a little bit more sense in just a second. And here I'm just double checking it, and we're in good shape. Okay, that's probably the hardest thing to this, but after you do it once, you'll see it's pretty simple. Now let's go ahead and get the controller. Okay, we have the controller, and let me get it open here. Now we give you wire, and wiring came with it also. So you can use either one. So you'll have some extra wiring. But to start with, we're going to go ahead and put your buzzer on and plug it in. And you'll see it's marked on the controller. It actually says buzzer on there. And you'll also see where it's marked plus and minus. Red is going to be your positive. Black is going to be your negative. So let's go ahead and plug in the buzzer. So once again, it says buzzer right on the case. Positive on this side, negative on that side, red on one side, black going to negative on that side, or your ground. Okay, so that's done. Now once again, while we have it out, it'd be a lot easier before we fasten it down. You'll see an arrow on your case. Here's the buttons here. This is your screen. These are the buttons. The buttons are going to be facing the back. You have an arrow facing forward, and that's the way you want it. You want the arrow facing forward, the buzzer connector facing forward, the buttons facing back. This is very important because it's there is an orientation on or the orientation of how you mount it, you know, is going to affect your flying. If you have it backwards or sideways, it's going to crash. So you want forward going forward, back to back. On this side here, on the right hand side, if you're looking at it from the back to the front, the right hand side is where your motor wires are going to tie into. And the very top, which is going to be the front, is going to be motor 1, then 2, and then 3, and then 4. Now if you remember, motor number 1 was this one, and we moved it to the power. Now on here you're going to see a negative on the casing again. You'll see negative to the outside, positive in the middle, and you'll see like a little symbol like that, which is control circuit, is to the left. So you want your white wire toward the inside, red in the middle, black on the outside on motor number 1. And that's how that goes. Motor number 2, remember we wrote it down here. Motor number 2 is actually wire number 1. And here you go, wire number 1. It's the opposite side of the red and the black. It's motor number 1. And that's going to go on your signal wire for motor number 2. Okay. Motor number 3 is going to be the 4th wire. And here's the 4th wire. And that's going to motor number 3. So see, it starts making a little sense and it gets easy. Motor number 4, we wrote down here, is actually wire number 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to control our motor number 4. And that's the motors tied in. So you can double check this. It's always good. I always double check most everything just to make sure. It's easier to double check it than to have a problem. And of course, if you don't understand it, definitely get somebody to help you. And once it's done and done right, it works really well. Now, let me go ahead and get our receiver. Okay, we have a receiver. Now, I'm using they call it an orange receiver, and I'm going to be using a DX5 Spectrum radio. Now, depending on which receiver you have, they may wire in a little bit different, but if we go from throttle to aileron to elevator to rudder to gear, if we put all those in the right slot, which no matter what receiver you have, it's going to work fine. And again, I'm using a DX5, and we'll go ahead and get this wired in. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the wiring that was sent with the frame kit. And this is the wiring that was sent with the controller. I'm not going to use it, I'm going to use this. You can use either, but I think this will do well. And you'll have extra wiring. Now what we can do, excuse me, is on the controller again, you'll see written right here is going to be negative to the outside, positive in the middle, signal on the inside. So we're going to use brown as the negative, red as a positive, and the light tan or orange as the signal. And so they'll be going on like this. So let's go ahead and put 5 wires on. So we're going to pull it out like this, and we're going to get our Velcro. We're going to put our battery mount in. Now I normally, with everything I do, you can do it however you want. Again, these are all great decisions that you're making right now on how you're building it, how you want it built. I normally put the hook of the Velcro on my batteries, just the way I do it. And I put the loop or the fuzzy onto my plane or my multi-rotor, and I do them all the same. So whichever battery I put in what, you know, it works that way. So anyway, I want to do it that same way. Do what you want though. That's the neat thing about this. You're building it how you want it. So we're going to put it right here in this area and right in here. So the battery's actually going to fit like this. Let me grab one real quick. This way you can see how it's going to be mounting. So the battery is going to wind up mounting just like this, right in this area right here. So you're going to want your Velcro right in this area right here. So I normally put it, and you know, if it doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll still work. This is how I normally put it. It's right at the edge of this hole right here, and right even with the hole here. So at the edge right here, and even right here, back this way, and you'll see how it fits in, and the battery will fit perfect right there. That's how I normally do it. Now I'm going to put my hand at the bottom here of the box and just press it down a little bit. Good to go. Now we're going to get these crazy little stickies again, if I can find them. And I call them crazy because they're fun. And we're going to put, I'm kind of satisfied with only 2 on here, to be honest with you. So let's see how that works out. And I'm going to put one right here. And I'm going to put one here. I think that'll work great. And again, use the knife. Just be careful. If you need some help with it, get somebody to give you a hand. And you can get it started like that. There we go. It's kind of hard to get this started, but I tell you what, these things hole really well. Okay, now this one's being kind of difficult again, so we're just going to lightly cut through the paper, and then we'll be able to get it started. There we go. There we go. And again, get some help if you're not comfortable using the knife, and that'll work good. Be safe. This centerpiece right here, where this box goes together, I'm going to put it in the center of the controller. Then we're going to put the controller all the way up to this wood. Again, if it's off a little bit, it won't hurt anything. So what I normally do is push it against the wood, keep it up off of the cardboard or the box, push it against the wood, put it about the center, and then just lightly go down with it. And then hold it underneath with this hand right here and just kind of push it down a little bit. And it's done. It's on there. Now we got to find a location for our receiver. Okay, whenever you mount the receiver to your box quad, you want to remember that you have to get to this wiring, and you're going to have the bind plug on this particular one is here. So we're going to have to bind it to our transmitter, so you won't be able to get to that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it like this. While we're in this area, let's go ahead and check our wiring to our receiver on how I did it. If you're using a radio other than a Spectrum, and again I'm using the DX5, if you're using something else, then you want to check with your manual as to the which channel is which on your receiver. But going with the DX5, the Spectrum, the throttle wire on your receiver, which is going to be the number 1, is going to go to number, again, this is the bottom and this is the top of the controller. So your throttle, your throttle on your receiver is going to go to the, let's see, the 3rd connection on your controller. 3rd from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, the 3rd one. Your 2nd wire on your receiver is going to be, on your Spectrum, is going to be your aileron. Your aileron is going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, your 5th from the bottom connection. You'll have one, when you're done, you'll have one bare connection on top, or one that's not used. Your 3rd connection on your receiver, which is going to be your elevator, is going to go to your 1, 2, 3, your 4th connection on your controller. Your 4th connection on your receiver, which is your rudder, is going to go to your 2nd connection on your receiver, on your controller rather, from the bottom. Your last connection, or your 5th connection on your receiver, which is your auxiliary or gear channel, is going to be going to your 1st connection, your 1st connection on your controller. So if we're looking at the controller, the very first, here's the bottom. So if we're looking at the controller, the bottom of the controller is here, or the back of the controller rather is here. The front of the controller's here. So from the back of the controller, your 1st connection on the controller is going to be gear. Your 2nd is going to be rudder. Your 3rd is going to be throttle. Your 4th is going to be elevator. And your 5th is going to be aileron. And if you hook that up to your receiver, whichever receiver you're using, it's going to work out fine. Your controller, the motors are done, your ESC is done. We checked the layout of our motors to the ESC and got the proper control wire. We have that hooked up to our controller. We have our buzzer hooked up to the controller. We have our receiver hooked up to the controller. We've double checked everything. Seems to be okay. So we're moving forward with it now. The next thing we're going to do, believe it or not, is put power to it. So let's just make sure we don't have any kind of problem here. Great. So we're good. Now the firmware on the controller is a good firmware. I've checked it already and I've flown with these controllers and they work real good with this. So you'll like it. And it'll work fine, so you don't have to reflash that. Now there's a lot of videos on YouTube if you want to find out more about the controller. And I suggest, even if you don't want to find out more about it, if you're going to fly with it, you should know, go check it out and see what's out there and, understand it a little bit. So we're good here. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and bind this to my DX5. Okay, I got my DX5. There it is there. And we're going to go ahead and put the bind plug in. And again, if you're using a different radio system, just check out in your manual and see how, the procedure for binding your particular radio, and you'll have to follow that. Bind plugs in, and we're going to go ahead and put power, and we're going to bind it to our radio. We notice that it's flashing the receiver, and that's telling us in binding mode. The DX5, you hold up on the trainer button there, and we'll turn it on, and you'll see it go solid whenever it's bound. And we're bound. Okay, your receiver is bound with your DX5. So now we'll get started. Now let me see if I can get us a little bit closer view. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set up the board now. And we have it plugged in. And you can have your transmitter off, that's fine for right now. We're going to go ahead and hit the menu button. And we're going to go ahead and slide down here. This receiver test, we're going to do this in a minute. We're going to, we're going to back out. We're going to go down to load motor layout, and we're going to hit enter. Now we want this to be, and you can see all the different, different multi-rotors you can set up. But we're going to go to this one here, quadrocopter X mode. We're going to hit enter. It's going to say, are you sure? Yes. And there it gives the motor layout. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, just like we talked about. And now it's going to give us the rotation also, clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. And we'll check rotation in a bit. So let's go ahead and back out of that, back out again. And we're going to go up one, and we're going to do that double check again. And this is just showing us our motor layout, so we know we have the right one. Good. So we did that. So let's go ahead and go to receiver channel mapping. On this particular receiver, with the DX8, the throttle is actually number 1. The roll, which is the aileron, is number 2, or channel 2. 3 is the elevator, and 4 is the yaw. 5 is auxiliary, or we use it as the gear. So let's go ahead and on the roll, we're going to go to channel 2. Okay. The pitch, elevator, we're going to go to channel 3. Throttle, we're going to go to number 1. Now, and then the yaw, which is a rotor, is going to stay on 4, and auxiliary on 5. Now, this is for a spectrum. So, depending on which radio system you're using, and I think you guys are using, this is the AMA kit that we're working on now, and electronics. And I think you guys are using a Spectrum DX5. But if you're using something else, you know, check your manual, see which order, you know, the channels are on your receiver, and you'll have to come here and set this to correspond. So let's go back to menu. We're going to go up 1. This is ACC calibration, and what we're going to do here, if you just read this, it says put it on a, you know, flat surface, and then hit enter. And this is going to tell the controller what is level. So it's going to think for a few minutes, and it's got a countdown, calibrating. Okay, hit it again. It says successful. Okay, so we're going to move up. So we set the configuration, the layout of our quad. We set the mapping on our receiver so it knows how our receiver is talking to it, and we just calibrated it. So I think we're in good shape for right now. Okay, we have our transmitter turned on. We're going to push the throttle all the way up, and what we're going to do is connect the battery and then quickly depress the 2 outside buttons here. You'll see on the screen it'll say pass through, and you'll hear a beep, and then as soon as you hear that beep, pull the throttle down on your transmitter, and it's going to calibrate the ESCs. So the best thing to do with this, if you can, is have somebody help you. One person can go ahead and hold the buttons down. One person can go ahead and plug it in, and then you don't have to be so fast with it. But let's go ahead and see if we can do it. Again, we have the transmitter turned on, throttle turned all the way up. We're going to plug it in, then quickly I'm going to depress the 2 outside buttons. There's a tone, pull it down. And then release. Now you're calibrated. If we arm it, and all the motors are starting up at the same time. Okay, so that is done. So now we have the ESC calibrated. We have the motors all coming on at the same time because of that. We have our wiring completed, you know, to our motors, to our ESC rather. We have our wiring completed from our receiver to our controller. And I gave you the setup for the controller, you know, which is which on the controller. We're going to tidy up these wires after a while. So we're in good shape on that. So let's go ahead and move to the next, which what we're going to do, we're going to check rotation of all the motors. One final thing we're going to do before we start checking the rotation on the motors. We have our transmitter on. We have our battery plugged in. Let's double check our receiver. So let's go to receiver test. And here we're going to put the throttle up, and you'll see the throttle is at full. We pull it back and it shows throttle at idle. That's perfect. We're going to go over to the rudder now. We're going to go left rudder, and it says it's giving us left. We're going to go to right rudder. It says it's giving us right. So that's correct. We're going to go to aileron. We're going to go left aileron on the transmitter, and it's saying left. We're going to go right on the transmitter, saying right. Oh, that's good. Elevator, we're going to pull back on the elevator, and it shows that's going back. And we're going to go forward on the elevator, and it shows we're going forward. All is good. Now, on the trim on our transmitter, being that the elevator, it shows that we're going forward. Let's pull the trim back a little bit. You'll see it going back. Let's try to get that to 0. There we go. Now on the elevator, on the aileron rather, let's do left trim. Let's see, there we are, we're at 0. So now if you see we're at 0 on everything, we're dead center on everything, that's great. Aileron left, aileron right. It matches our stick movement on our transmitter. Pull back on the elevator, shows back. Move forward, shows forward. Throttle all the way down idle, throttle all the way up full. And that's about halfway, and it's about 50%. Good. Rudder to the left on the transmitter, shows left. To the right, shows right. Now all of that, you know, if you're moving your transmitter to the right on the rudder and it was showing left here on the controller, you would have to change or reverse that channel on your transmitter. So, but everything has worked out great on that. The other item, if you look, it says, if you notice rather, the auxiliary is on, and that's for your auto level. And you'll want to fly in auto level until you're really, really good pilot. So I would definitely have autopilot on every time you fly. And you can go to flying it with on off. Very, very hard to control. You have to be a very good pilot, you know, experienced pilot before you can do that. But anyway, on your transmitter, your channel 5 switch on the left hand side, you flip it, that's off, and that's on, and that's what controls that. So I just wanted to double check this just to make sure we were in good shape, and we are, so we can back out of this and we're good. Now that switch I was telling you about for auto level, that's on and off, so it'll show it on the main screen also. Now on your transmitter, this is the switch here I was talking about. That's for your auto level on and off, and that's your channel 5. And that's on and that's off, and you can see on your controller it's going to show it. And if you have to reverse anything, of course you can look at the manual, but this is where you would reverse your channels if it wasn't you know, going the right way whenever you were moving your stick and looking at the controller. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to check the rotation on the motors. Now to arm your quad in this particular controller, if you take your rudder and you move it to the right, you'll hear it, and it'll also say armed on your controller. If you move it to the left, it will disarm it, and it says safe on the controller. So throttle all the way down, rudder to the right, arm, rudder to the left, disarm. So every time you land, go ahead and disarm it, then it's safe to get around it and to unplug the battery. When you plug in the battery, go ahead and, close the top. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and check rotation on the motors. So let's go ahead and turn the transmitter on. Let's plug it in. And we're going to... So all the way down on the throttle to the right on the rudder, and we're going to arm it. Armed. We're going to give a little bit of throttle. Number 1 motor should be turning clockwise. It is. We're in good shape. Number 2 motor should be turning counterclockwise. It is. We're in good shape. Number 3 motor should be turning clockwise. It's not, so we need to change that. Number 4 motor should be turning counterclockwise. And it is, so we're in good shape with that. So we need to change this one. So let's go ahead and disarm it. And we just did. We went all the way down on the throttle to the left with the rudder, disarmed it. Let's go ahead and unplug it. This is the one we need to change. So what we're going to do, we're going to switch 2 wires. We're going to unplug this one, unplug this one, switch 2 of them, any 2, and we should be in good shape. Now again, let's go ahead and plug it back in. Okay, we're going to give it a little throttle. This motor number 1 should be clockwise. Let's arm it first. We're armed. It's clockwise. Number 2 motor should be counterclockwise. Number 3 motor should be clockwise. Now it is. That's good. Number 4 motor should be counterclockwise. And it is. So we're in good shape. Let's disarm it. Calibration is done. Let's go ahead and unplug it. And we'll turn the transmitter off. Okay, one last thing to do, and besides cleaning all this up, is we're going to go ahead and tidy up these wires. The zip ties you have. This is how I normally do it. Again, and I'm just going to disconnect this to straighten these wires. There we go. I do this, you can do it however you want, but I think this works out for me anyway. Pretty neat, doing it like this. And kind of keep the wire up on the arm like this. And tighten it up a little bit, and you'll see how the wiring comes around this way. Makes a real nice, neat job. I'll go ahead and trim that off, and we'll go ahead and do this one. And the only thing I'm doing is, pushing it up to the side of the arm. And we'll go around with it like this. And you tighten it up, not too much to, cut into the wire. And so we'll go ahead and come in here and pull these wires a little bit and make them look pretty. And there we go. Now you could, again, put another tie right here in this area, but you really don't need to. That's what I was saying earlier. You can definitely do that if you want to, but they come out pretty good like this. There we go. And there's your finished quad inside. And we'll double check these, make sure these are tight. There we we go. Tighten them up really good. There we go. There we're good. And that's it, finished. Sometimes I put a piece of tape right here. You can use the blue or green painter's tape. It won't pull, you know, anything off the box. It won't take the paper off. And I do that sometimes to hold it together. So, just to recap, so far what we've done, we've calibrated the ESC. We've checked rotation on the motors. And everything's doing fine. We have our controller installed, we have our ESC installed, we have all of our wiring done on the motors, or the ESC, the controls to the ESC on the controller here. We have the receiver mounted and it's wired in, and we went through the sequence. This is the back, this is the front, and the back of the controller where the buttons are. The very first is gear, or auxiliary. The second one up is rudder. Third one up is throttle. Fourth one up, elevator. Fifth one up, aileron. Hook it up respectively to the same channel, corresponding channels on your transmitter. You should be in good shape. We went through the controller. We picked the configuration we wanted, Quadrocopter X. We did the ACC calibration. We told it which was level, or what was level. And we did the channel mapping. Now the channel mapping will come in play on this particular controller. You can plug in a satellite receiver. In other words, if you had a satellite receiver, you could just plug it into the side, and all of this you don't need. Just a satellite receiver. When you do that, you have to go in and pick the satellite receiver and do the channel mapping, but we have the channel mapping done. So if you go to that, only thing you have to do is go tell it you're using a satellite receiver. We went to receiver test and we checked it, and when we moved throttle up, it went to full. We moved it down, it went to idle. Rudder left on the transmitter, rudder right on the transmitter correspond to the controller. If it didn't, then you would have to, you know, reverse your channel, and then you would test it again and make sure that it was doing it correctly. We went to the aileron. Aileron left, aileron right corresponded to what the controller was saying it was. Elevator back, elevator forward was corresponding also. So we know that all of our controls are in the right direction, and the controller was reading the transmitter correctly. We know we went over on arming and disarming. We went over briefly, or if we haven't, we'll do it again, on the props. I really don't, anytime I plug the battery in and I'm inside, I have the props off. I only have the props on and when I'm going to fly. So something you really, it's a good habit to get into. It's a little bit of a pain maybe to take them off and put them back on, but to be honest with you, after you get used to it, it works really well, and it becomes a habit, and it's very safe doing that way. So that's one rule I have. If it comes into the shop or my house, the props come off before anything gets plugged in, any battery gets plugged in. Also, we went over binding the receiver, so we should be in good shape there. The next thing we're going to do is put the props on, and we're going to get it out and fly a little bit. So here you are, it's all finished up. We're just ready to put the props on now, and we're ready to go flying. So a little windy here today. Looks like tomorrow morning I'm going to go ahead and get it out and we'll fly it, and we'll put it at the tail end of this video. This is Danny with QuadLugs, and it's been a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Take care. Okay, we're finishing up with the props. We're over at the field. Actually, we fly at a local school here with a lot of land behind us. You'll see it in a minute. It's pretty much where all the videos are shot. One thing to remember is putting on, or when you're putting on the props, is that the rotation is proper, or you have the proper prop for the proper rotation. Again, this is the back. That's where it opens and closes. This is the front. That's the hinge. The front left motor is clockwise, and make sure you have the proper prop on that. Counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. Another thing that's really important with when you get new props is to balance them. These have not been balanced. I normally balance them by putting a little bit of tape, and if you've ever seen any of my props, you would notice real quick if they're balanced or not. It's pretty windy this afternoon, but I wanted to go ahead and get a test flight. This is the maiden of our build and our electronics install. We're going to go ahead and arm it, and then we're going to rev the motors up just a little bit and see if there's any unusual actions with it, and then we're going to lift it up a little bit. It's pretty windy today. We probably got 12 to 15 mile-an-hour winds and gusts. Been pretty steady at probably about 7 or 8, 9. You can see how stable it is. It needs a little bit of trim. I'm having to give it a little bit of forward elevator because I'm fighting the wind. The wind is blowing straight into it. And it gets gusting right now. So we'll work through this. They fly real good in the wind. Doing really good. This is very little input to keep it here. It's flying really well. And as I was saying, the firmware that's on the board that comes with it is very adequate. It flies very, very well. So there you go. That is our maiden flight. You saw it. That was the first time we lifted off the ground. That was a win there. So very good. A good build. Everything went good. It helps to double check like we did on a lot of our wiring and on our build. So here we go. First flight. Everything's working well. Thanks a lot, and I hope you like it, and have fun.